What's up, everybody? Welcome to BioS 3 Raw TV. I fixed these fucking strings. Fix the camera angle. Fix these strings. So you guys see the title that ketogenic versus moderate carb, and why the studies say there's no difference as far as thermogenic fat loss in the study. Now, Lane Norton, who I've been critical of Lane Norton in the past, him and I have had our differences. I don't have anything against Lane. I actually think he's a pretty decent dude. And matter of fact, throughout the years, I've actually grown to kind of like him more than not like him, to be totally honest with you. But he put up a post on, this was actually Holly, his wife or girlfriend. I think it's his girlfriend. She actually put up a post about the keto diet and why the keto diet versus the moderate carb and what studies actually say. Now, the study that they quoted in here was a study from Arizona State University in 2007. Two groups of dieters were placed on isocaloric diets, which means that both the calories are the same in each one. One diet was low carb, one diet which was ketogenic, the other diet was moderate carb and moderate fat. Both groups lost exactly the same amount of weight and fat. All health markers were very similar. The study demonstrated the thermogenic benefits of the keto diet being due to a higher protein content when compared to a standard diet, not the fat content. Also fits with what we know about the thermic effect of macronutrients. Continue in the comments. All right, we don't need to know any more than that about the thing. Now, here's the thing. What Holly's saying is something that I actually found out years ago, and I was saying it, and people were actually fucking with me. They were actually saying some pretty shitty stuff. That's 2007. So I didn't even start doing YouTube till 2011. And 2010, 2012, 2011 I started. So by 2012, we were full swing, and I was talking about a ketogenic diet with a higher protein content than traditional keto. Now, here's the thing. That study showed similar fat loss because they had the same protein intake, but they used all fats and, to make up the difference from the other diet that had carbs and fats together. Now, here's the thing. It may very well be the protein. You know what I mean? Because I'm not a scientist. I am not a doctor. I don't know. But I know that the higher protein does work. And here's the thing. Many people think the protein is going to convert to glucose, which is absolutely possible if there's too much protein. Now, had that study been done where they slightly decreased the fats a little bit, let's say they dropped the fats about 20 grams and increased the protein about 10 grams, which you don't actually need that much more protein, it would have actually changed the caloric. So let's do an even swap to make sure that this is understood. So whatever calories you drop fat-wise, increase the calories protein-wise. You now still have the isocaloric diet. However, that study would have shown not similar fat loss. The one that had the higher protein with no carbs and the fat, ketogenic, would have actually lost more fat, undeniably, than the other one that had the moderate carb. And I think that nowadays, they're still trying to figure out how this works. Like keto originally was low protein, high fat, no carb. It was like the meat diet, the carnivore diet, the fucking whatever diet, like all that bullshit. And then keto turned into where people were having like these random refeeds of junk food, and they were still calling it keto. Then other people were calling keto like they had carbohydrates before and after their workouts, and then the rest of the day they had no food, no carbohydrates, so it was like a modified keto. I'm like, there's so many things out there that, there's not one size fits all for anybody with diet, with training, anything like that. But the keto, the whole thing about keto, and I think that the more it becomes a fad, the more people look into it, the protein really does have a lot to do with it. And I think that the reason why so many people failed back in the day on keto, protein was too low. Those guys that actually didn't count macros, didn't count calories, they were just eating meats, were getting in a lot more protein than the people that, the later day keto users, where they were actually taking in low protein, high fats. As that diet started to shift to a high fat diet, people were having a hard time sticking to it. They weren't getting the results that they wanted. They would lose weight, but they would also lose muscle, right? Now, bodybuilders, competitors, fitness athletes, fitness enthusiasts don't want to lose muscle. So therefore, you must have enough protein to cover your muscular needs, which means that to maintain your muscle mass, you need a certain amount of protein. Without that protein, you will lose muscle. When you lose muscle, you slow your metabolism down. So now the whole key is the protein. It really isn't the fat. The fat that you're taking in on a keto diet is technically for energy, for hair, skin, nails, fat-soluble vitamins, to live, to be healthy. I mean, that's why you're taking it in, because technically you could do an all-protein and fiber diet, and you would still technically be in ketosis. Your body would still make ketones. So it's not really like they're saying. It's like Holly and Lane are both saying. It's not really about the fat. Now, ketogenic state really isn't about the ketones on your body. It's actually just the state your body's in using the ketones. And at that point, if your body's using ketones, you don't need to feed it tons of fat. If you're feeding it tons of fat, it's got two choices with the fat that you're feeding it. Store it as body fat or use it for energy. Now, if you store it as body fat, it's going against dieting. It's not what you want to do, right? If you use it for energy, now your body has a source of energy that's coming in. It's going to use less of what it has on it, ketones, body fat, for energy. So you're basically slowing down your progress. So the whole key for keto in 2018, and probably in 2019 and heading forward too, is the manipulation of the fats and the proteins together, and not necessarily a high-fat, low-protein diet or a high-fat, moderate protein diet. Every individual is going to be different with their protein needs, and every individual is going to be different with their fat needs. However, you go across the board, you can say this, and I'll make this blanket statement, and I stand behind it 100%. If you're eating too much fat, macro-wise, if those percents are off on keto and you're eating too much fat, it will absolutely slow down your progress. Hands down, you will slow your fat loss. If you're eating too much protein, it will convert to glucose and it will slow down your progress. Keto is not this easy. Now, don't get me wrong. Some people just eat and they're fine. But many people out there will hit sticking points, plateaus, and can't get past them because their body has adapted, because they don't really understand what they're doing, because they may be doing something that, because they're doing it right away, the body adapts to it and they've never done it before. However, after that, the body starts to adapt. Now things really need to be shifted. Like me personally, I like to see the fats go kind of low until I get to a certain point of leanness, and then I start to bring the fats back up so my body has another source of fuel besides what it's pulling on my body fat wise or muscle. So technically, ketogenic dieting is very similar to carb cycling, carb depletion, things like that. It's not this one size fits all thing, and I can tell by the fad that's going on right now that people just think, I'll eat cheeseburgers, I'll eat the cheese off the pizza, whatever, not count my calories and I'll be fine. And again, for some people that might work, but for most of us, we need to count the macros. We need to make sure that those macros are hit every day to make sure we're getting the fastest progress possible. BioStreetTraining@gmail.com. Leave comments down below, but don't fight. www.biostrength.com is the keto diet bicep, and we are out.